Welcome to the Heart-Centered Entrepreneur Podcast. I want you to be rich. Yes, I want abundant financial success for your business. But I don't just care about your business making money. I care about you too. I want you to be rich in happiness, in the impact you make, in your relationships, and in how you give back. I'm Anna. I built my six-figure business as a side hustle while I was pregnant with my daughter in 2016. Now I've helped dozens of women do the same. I'm here to help you build a profitable, heart-centered, fully booked business with the latest tips on sales and visibility, with proven mindset hacks, and sneak peeks behind the scenes with what's working right now in the online space and in my business. Ready to make more money with heart? Let's go. Do you ever spill a glass of water and then think to yourself, maybe that spot on the floor needed to be cleaned anyway? I do this sort of thing all the time. And I think it's also why I'm not very miserable, because I really surrender to the flow of life, though I also am a big action taker and am a big fan of like creating the change and being the change in the world that you want to see, etc. But I was just thinking about that because my computer was running kind of slow this morning, and for many people that would frustrate them, right? But for me, I was like, oh, maybe this is just my invitation to slow down and take a breath, right? Or if a client is 2 minutes late to session, instead of being frustrated, I'm like, wow, I get the chance to grab some water or, slow down and, oh, I needed to use the bathroom anyway. And I really encourage you. I feel like right now we're in an interesting era of challenge when it comes to our world politically, and just this interesting year, 2025. And so I want to encourage you, yes, to be the change, make a difference where you need to, but also slow down and ask yourself, where am I being guided? Where am I being led? How can I surrender to this moment? Give yourself that permission too. Today, I'm so excited because I saw someone post online like the 3 biggest luxuries in life, and her 3 biggest luxuries are not my version of the 3 biggest luxuries in life, but it inspired me to think through what is my version of luxury. And I wrote down my 6 true luxuries in life. And as you hear my list, I hope it inspires you to create your own. You've heard me talk about the concept happy, boring dream life, that I really think our dream life doesn't have to be what's typical for other women. For me, I feel like my dream life is pretty boring, but it makes me very, very happy. And coming from a background of a lot of like chaos and disruption, I had to really remind myself it's okay if my version of happy is calm and boring and peaceful. Like that to me is what I want. I want somewhat, quote, ordinary, which unfortunately for most women is not ordinary. Most women do not have peace. Most women do not have financial stability and independence. Most women are lonely or anxious or depressed. We carry so much. And so having calm, peace, abundance, fatty bank accounts, like that really is abundance, and that really is luxury. So I want to share my 6 true luxuries, and I hope it inspires you to write down your own. Okay, let's get into it. The first one I wrote down is slow mornings, silence, stillness. Oh my goodness. I know we all have seasons of survival, right? Where we can't have a slow morning even if we wanted to. But what I want to encourage you is making sure that those seasons, whether it's like a really hard health diagnosis or whether it's you have a child, or sometimes we can't do this, but I often see women going through a season of survival and then making it their norm. And I just want to remind you, life's, but then we have the power to bring our life back to stability and to slowness. And to, for me, my favorite thing about having my own business is having a slow morning. I have almost every morning as a slow morning where I can do my daily check-in. I ask myself about 6 questions every morning. I sit in my little quiet, peaceful meditation corner. I make myself a good, healthy breakfast, usually some eggs or toast or Dave's Killer Bread, everything bagel. And this to me is such a luxury in life that I didn't always have. For about a decade in my life, I didn't have peace. And I think part of this is being able to have an hour in the morning that you don't schedule. Yes, maybe you're a morning person, you want to work first thing. That's okay too. Maybe you have a slow afternoon, but making sure you have at least one moment every day that's slow. Okay, not once a week, not once a month, not once a year where we escape to a vacation. I'm a big fan of, that like trend for romanticizing life. I really think it's onto something, because I think we spend so much time planning our vacations, which isn't bad. But when we're on vacation, we're willing to like drop money, spend a ton of time researching. Why don't we do that for our ordinary life, right? I spend a lot of time researching like little adventures to do with my kids here in our city. I love buying things to upgrade my life and my experience, whether it's a really nice gym, like permission to make your ordinary life great. And that starts with a slow part of every single day. Maybe for you, it's just finding 5 minutes. Maybe it's during your lunch break at work, you're just sitting in your car listening to a podcast, but really starting to claim the slowness, really starting to be okay with the silence and stillness. And if you've been in a season of survival, the silence and the stillness does not feel safe. I remember for me, it felt very triggering to have quiet and silence and peace. And I felt very restless and very uncomfortable. And it's probably still a big reason why my quote meditation still isn't in silence. I usually listen to a meditation or I sit in my quiet corner and I read my affirmation cards. It's okay to have those tools, but really for me, luxury in life is not just having room for this, but enjoying it and taking that silence, that stillness, that slowness, that time is just for you. You devote so much of your day to literally everyone else, devoting 5 minutes, 10 minutes to your calmness, your happiness. And I'm saying like 6 luxuries, but really I feel like it's a right. It's really such a element of self-care. Okay, next one I wrote down is a calm body. I think it's such a luxury to have a calm body, a healthy body. I tell my girls I teach bar class on the weekends, fitness class, ballet inspired fitness class. And I tell them it's such a privilege to be able to be here and to be working out, right? For people that don't work out or aren't healthy, I always say, like, don't cast any judgment because most people that are not healthy in their body, it's not because they don't want to be, it's not because they're lazy, it's because literally they're overwhelmed or they don't have the education to understand how important it is to move your body, how game changing it is for your mental health, for depression, for anxiety, right? It is a privilege to be able to work out, to have the time. There have been seasons in my life where I was so exhausted, I could not work out. And I know working out helps you have more energy, but it's like the chicken and the egg. So what I want to say is if you're in a chapter of not eating healthy or not working out, don't judge yourself. Do not judge yourself. That is the last thing that you need. Really come at it from grace and from self-love because I truly think that it is a privilege and it takes a lot of strength and energy to work out, right? It's almost like that whole generational wealth thing, right? Where it's like, okay, when you're feeling strong and healthy and eating good and exercising, it's pretty easy to keep eating good and exercising and taking care of our body, right? When we're feeling discouraged, when we're feeling down, it's hard to do that. And so I really think it's a luxury and a blessing to be able to sleep well, to be able to not have stressful dreams, to be able to be pain-free in our body, to be able to have energy. And I really feel like it's a luxury that you deserve, that you should fight for, but it is a blessing. I do not take for granted at all that I can buy healthy food, organic food, that I can every day move my body and get a good workout and get that chemical high from a workout because I have the time and the energy to be a Pilates princess, right? And so that's my second luxury. The next one I put is I always tell my clients, like, okay, don't just think about others, think about yourself. But this is for others. For me, one of my biggest luxuries in life is when the people I love are safe and happy. Nothing makes me happier, I tell my kids this, than spending my money on them. I love to be able to afford the best medical care, right? The other day, one of my kids was like, oh, Mom, I feel so bad. They had broken their finger and we had to go to the doctor. I'm like, that's okay. This is my favorite way to spend my money is taking care of you and making sure you're safe. And it's the absolute truth, right? Knowing that my resources can make the people I love safe and happy it just means so much to me. Like seeing a smile on my kids' faces, knowing that they're taken care of, knowing that they're at peace is just the biggest blessing. And for me, a really, really big luxury. The next one I put is emotional safety. You know, I talk about like the 3 types of savings, right? Money savings, time savings, and energy savings, like having a buffer of it. And I really think that when we have emotional safety with the people that we're around, we trust them, relationships where you can fully exhale, that you feel comfortable around, that you're not lonely. We are really, I feel like as we're in a more virtual world, especially post-COVID, I feel like we are lonelier than ever. And I feel like having relationships where you can be emotionally safe in, to tell your truth, to be seen, to be messy, to share where you're struggling, to have a coach that will tell you, hey, you're doing a good job. Here's some ideas. Like to have those connections, the community and the margin, I think is huge, right? And for me, when I think about, yes, like, okay, to have a savings account in the bank so that if an emergency happens, you have money to fuel it. I think about emotional savings this way too, right? If something hard happens in my life that's triggering or overwhelming, if I already have friendships already built that I can share it with, that's the blessing, right? If I already am feeling baseline level happy, if I already am feeling baseline level energized, a hard situation isn't going to take me out, right? Versus if you already feel isolated and like you don't have friendships and you're already, and then something hard happens, that's just like the horrible cherry on the top, right? And so I really see it as such a luxury and blessing to have emotional safety and really positive energy. The next I put is control of your calendar. Oh my goodness, this is the ultimate luxury, right? To be able to have power over, my kids had I just feel like fall is so busy with kid activities, right? Like lunch on the lawn and volunteering for something. And then also going to a music performance. Like for me to be able to move client calls around or, oh, cool, it's already on a Monday or Friday and I have those days blocked off. Like to have time on my calendar and to have time margin to be able to do what I want to when I want to is just the biggest blessing. Like not having to ask a boss and just be able to do what I want to for my kids, but also for me, right? Like I love to take workout classes during the workday. I love to take dance classes and private dance lessons during my work day, like traditional work hours. And I feel like having control of your calendar is like the biggest freedom, right? I remember one time I was talking with a guy and he was like, oh, like I love owning my own business because like I don't have to report to a boss and like saying that like, and I get it. I get that vibe. But for me, I'm like, I report to like a ton of clients. Like I feel like my clients are my bosses in a certain way. We can't avoid life where we're serving people, but I feel like I have really kind clients, really kind bosses. So I don't think it's the energy of like, no, I don't want to report to anyone or I don't want to. That's not the energy. I think the energy is like we want to be with people that are kind and loving, and we want to have freedom over our schedule, at least that I do. I also think control over your calendar is also control over like I think about like where you live, like being able to decide the city you live. I live in San Diego, which is a very expensive city objectively, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. Like I just feel like I remember when I moved back here, there was just something in the air that felt like my heart immediately released and relaxed. And I felt like I was at peace. And I just knew that my heart was born to be in this city. And yes, it's expensive, but the weather is so nice that I feel good year round. And feeling good year round, I just feel like you cannot put a dollar sign on that. I feel like it's the biggest luxury, not just living in the city that feels good to you, but like living in a house that feels good to you, all of that stuff, right? For me, it's like access to the nature that I love. I love the ocean. The ocean is so healing for me. Lately on Sundays, my girlfriends and I have been going for ocean swims, and that's been a big blessing. But even outside of that, I will take my kids to the beach just for an evening. I love going in the evening because you don't have to put on sunblock. And, right after they get messy, they can just go right in the shower and clean off the sand right before bedtime routine. Like, it's such a blessing to live by the ocean. And for me, that is luxury, living by the nature elements that you most love. Maybe for you, it's the mountains. Maybe for you, it's the trees. I don't know. I feel like everyone has a bit of nature that they can access, but I think there's just like nothing like putting your toes in the grass or the sand or whatever it is. I just feel like there is something about our body that heals when we have access to nature. Okay, next one is this the last one? We're on the last one already. Oh my goodness. Okay, I don't want this to end because I'm having such a good time with you guys. Okay, last one is money savings, right? So we talked about time savings, energy savings, but really having a buffer of money in your bank account, even if you have debt. I'm a big fan of like not paying off debt, not prioritizing that so much that you don't have savings, because when you don't have savings, then you just put yourself in more debt when an emergency happens. And you also really regulate yourself to not having a savings. And you really, it's almost like this punishing mentality of like, you made that debt, now you had to pay it off and you're bad. And no, icky, none of that, right? I'm such a big fan, and I've seen clients time and time again create a big savings account and from that place be able to knock off debt a lot faster. Obviously, there's like debt management tools, like being able to open a balance transfer credit card, all that stuff I go into in my book. But I'm a big fan of creating a savings account. I wrote a book on this, the 20K Freedom Fund, and I'm a huge fan of prioritizing. For me, when I was in a season of making a lot of money in my business but not feeling in control, I tried a lot of things to try to feel more in control with my money, like obsessive budgeting and, again, a lot of different things until I realized, no, it really is creating a massive savings account that for me creates ultimate peace and stability and control. Maybe it's 20,000 for you, maybe it's 10,000, maybe it's 40,000, doesn't matter. But really getting clear on the amount so that, and people are like, oh, I don't need to make it about the money, right? But the thing is, when you don't have money, then everything has to be about the money. Like, oh, I can't do that because I can't afford it. Or having money helps it not be about the money and helps it be about your values. So if you're a heart-centered woman, listen up. For me too, I really think about when I think about my little 6 luxuries in life, so many of them are funded by money, right? Oh, what's that book? There's this amazing book I read a few years ago about I think it's called The Magic of the Moment, but it really talks about how big organizations and basically if you think about any big memory in your life, it probably didn't happen on accident. It probably happened because someone was intentional to create that moment for you. And I think about the same thing with my kids, like all their favorite memories I paid for. Okay. And it's not bad, whether it's something tiny like a dinner out, whether it's an ice cream, whether it's a vacation to Ireland, right? Like it's okay that your memories, it takes resources, right? To create safety for yourself, to be able to give generously to the causes you care about, to act from this place of heart and desire and excitement and creativity and impulse in some ways. It takes money, right? It takes money. And it's almost that idea of like creativity thrives within structure. I feel like money is the structure with which creativity can thrive. Then you don't have to let anything hold you back as you grow your business, right? You can buy that, afford that coach that you want to. You can buy a new desk, right? Like you deserve to be resourced. And so for me, my Freedom Fund, my savings account is definitely one of my 6 true luxuries. And I'm so grateful for it. Life is up and down. And instead of me trying to control and make life perfect or make every lunch go a certain way or every client do a certain thing, or like instead of getting so attached to how much money I make or how much money life costs me. I mean, I'm a single mom. Like my expenses are variable, like and wild. But for me, what gives me peace is knowing I have this fatty savings account, right? Where I'm really able to fund and fuel my life no matter what happens. Okay, those are my 6 true luxuries. I hope you enjoyed listening, and I would love to hear your 6. Feel free to email me back and share them with me, or write them down and tag me on Instagram. I'd love to reshare it. And really ask yourself, which of these do I already have, and which of these are ones maybe that I used to have that I don't have anymore that I really want to move towards. Again, this is your version of a happy, boring dream life, but a little bit more defined. And again, they may overlap with mine. They may not overlap with mine. And that's okay, right? For me, I love to dance salsa and bachata. That's how I love to spend controlling my calendar and spending my time. But maybe for you, you love to take tennis lessons, or you love to go horseback riding, or whatever it is for you. It does not matter, right? But really getting clear on what luxury looks like for you. And I would just love to co-sign and support that and cheer you on in that journey, and just really, really grateful for you. I'll link my Freedom Fund book. 20K Freedom Fund is my story, really talking through the hardest time in my life, how I eliminated my debt, how I created my first $20,000 in savings, and then went on to create $200,000 in savings, with which I bought the house I'm living in right now in San Diego. But whatever journey you're on, wherever part you're in your money making process, you're going to love this book. I break it down into 7 really simple steps, and I tell my story, and it's been known to make women laugh and cry. And it's pretty short too. You can read it in about 1 or 2 days. I think you're really going to love it. Have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your week. This week, when you're listening to this podcast, by the time this comes out, I'll be starting the first week of the new mastermind that I'm leading, 3-Day Entrepreneur. So if you missed this round, please make sure you join the waitlist for the next round that's opening up. My mastermind is 6 months, and I really support women in a high-touch way, includes one-on-one support. And if you're wanting to create a life of luxury like this, if you want to work on a 3-day work week, make 6 figures so you have plenty of resources to fuel your life, please join the waitlist. I would love to have you on there. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Thanks for hanging out today. Please hit that subscribe button so you can make sure to stay updated anytime a new episode drops. And I would love for you to join me in my free Facebook community. It's called The Heart-Centered Entrepreneur. We discuss the podcast episodes. I regularly go live and do free trainings. And you may even meet your newest biz bestie. So you can join at heartcenteredcommunity.com. It's absolutely free, and I cannot wait to see you in there.